Wednesday night on Bad Dog Comedy TV. You are watching Five Things with your amazing, fantastic, fabulous host, Alia Rasul.
Hi everyone, welcome to Five Things. I am your host, Alia Rasul, and before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that we, the Bad Dog Theater Company, are broadcasting from the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. It is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. Last week we talked a little bit about the wampum belt. Today I was doing a quick read of the news, and I'm going to spend the next 3 minutes reading a really good article from Al Jazeera called Canada's Crying Shame About Residential Schools. It's a solid read, so as part of my land acknowledgement today, I'm going to spend the next 3 minutes reading a part of it. So just a content warning that what I'm about to read contains upsetting themes around the trauma of residential schools. So here we go. There were 139 residential schools attended by an estimated 150,000 First Nations, Inuit, and Métis children in Canada. The first school opened in 1831 and the last one closed in 1996. The institutions intended to erode Indigenous culture, language, and family and community ties were notorious for the neglect and abuse of the children who were forced to attend them. Thousands of Indigenous children died at the schools, with the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, the TRC, of Canada conservatively, that is the word, estimating between 4,000 to 6,000 deaths. In 2009, so more than 10 years ago, the Canadian government turned down requests for the TRC for $1.5 million in funding to help identify the locations of burial sites of children at the former residential schools. To put this into perspective, $1.5 million is the cost of a home, one home in Toronto, $1.5 million. So some First Nations communities began using their own resources to hire specialists operating ground-penetrating radar to find the graves, and at the end of May, they uncovered the remains of 215 children buried at the former Kamloops Indian Residential School in British Columbia, and they continue to find more today. Why I'm reading this today? There's a lot happening in the world, and I'm just reminded that how frightening it is, how easy it is to erase history when you don't pay attention. So I'm going to take a little space of this podcast because it's my show and I can do what I want to take this moment for us to pay attention together. So yeah, it's my show. So on we go. Welcome to the show. Thank you everyone for listening to me. Thanks for listening to me. So the season of Five Things is hosted by me, Alia Ceniza Rasul, and I'm going to be talking to some of my favorite people, some of the folks that I think are just doing the coolest things, and we're going to dig into stories, politics, and personality behind their work. So what this means is, like, we're going to have some of my most illustrious, some of my most famous friends come on this season. So make sure you hit like and or subscribe to make sure you don't miss any of them. What is Five Things? Five Things is based on an improv game. Bad Dog Comedy Theater is an improv theater. So Five Things obviously is an improv game that helps us get out of our heads a little bit to warm up. So I'm going to and all I need is a suggestion. So Ajahnis, our wonderful tech, do you have a suggestion for me so that I can do Five Things, the warm-up game?
Here is a suggestion. I would love to know 5 things that you gotta remind yourself every day.
Oh, okay. Number 1, do I have my keys? I think that's a pretty standard one, but I'm on my 7th set of keys. It's getting embarrassing to call my landlord, but I gotta my other spare keys is in my home. So that's 1. What else do I need to deodorant. That's the truth. Deodorant. Number 3, my lunch, my baon. Baon means like your packed lunch. I gotta make sure I take that out of the fridge. Number 4, make sure I call my mom because my mom will get really mad at me if I don't call her. And number 5, oh, you know what? Like every time, like I always do this thing where I lock up and then I go, and then I remember I've forgotten something and then come back. That is whether or not I've unplugged my, what's that called? Hair straightener. So that's like a very basic 5, but I think a very good 5, actually. So those are my 5 things. Am I warmed up? Yeah, I'm pretty warmed up. I was so excited to introduce you to today's guest. I'm also a little bit intimidated, but mostly excited. I would be more intimidated if I hadn't interviewed her before, and it was a blast. So this is our second round at it. So let me tell you about today's guest. It's Catherine Hernandez, or the 10-year-old Alia with her Filipino accent would say Catherine Hernandez is a proud queer woman of color and an award-winning author. Her first novel, Scarborough, won the Jim Wong Chu Award for the unpublished manuscript, was a finalist for the Toronto Book Awards, the Evergreen Forest of Reading Award, the Edmund White Award, and the Trillium Book Award, and was longlisted for Canada Reads. She recently wrote the screenplay for the film adaptation of Scarborough. Stunning film, which I caught. It premiered at TIFF this year, and she's the creator of Audible Originals audio sketch comedy series Imminent Disaster. Fun fact, your humble host was on that, so check it out. Her second novel, Crosshairs, published simultaneously in Canada and in Canada and the US and the UK this spring, made the CBC's Best Canadian Fiction, amongst other laurels. Her third children's book, Where Do Your Feelings Live, which is a guide for kids living through these scary times, has been commissioned by HarperCollins Canada and will be published in winter 2022. And she's currently working on her third novel, PSW, through HarperCollins Canada, again, 2022. Whew. And with that being said, I'd like to bring up Catherine Hernandez. Hello, Catherine!
Yes, I got the sirens. Yes. Oh, that's an awesome. I want all of my entrances to be like that every time I go into a room. Oh my, it's so funny that you say that you're intimidated. I feel like intimidated by you, like people who like the comedy world. I think that it's just so amazing. You all are so amazing. So,
oh
yeah.
My gosh. Okay, well, we're just
mutual admiration. Yes.
Mutual admiration. Yay, I'm waving my. This is a podcast, so I want people to know that I'm celebrating with my hands in the air.
Yes.
So how are you? Congratulations on Scarborough. So I'm congratulating you on that one thing because I literally just saw it at TIFF in September.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That was unreal. And as you know, some brilliant people were a part of it, including Eli Posadas, who has worked with you in the Tita Collective. And so I'm still processing it. Every time someone asks me about it, it's like, how did it feel? I'm like, I still can't feel my legs. I can't feel my legs. My feet have not touched ground since. It was just so unreal, and to try as much as possible to not act like new money during the entire thing, because all the time I was like, these are free pastries. Like I could just take these pastries, or is this real gold? Is this like this? Is the word TIFF? Is it wrapped in gold? And is this real gold, or is it chocolate inside? Like I felt like so ignorant. I really look like a new money. I had no idea what I was doing. It was so much fun.
My aspiration in life is to act like new money. I don't even care if I am new money, but I will act like new money. It's just fun,
Oh yeah. Oh no, it was so funny because I do remember at the festival seeing two people who had to attend like another TIFF event that you can tell that these people were very moneyed folks, like, judging by like how they were dressed, but the way that they were like, oh, another something or other, like, oh, another tray of food. Like, and I thought to myself, I would rather be me being so full of glee about everything around me that yeah, it's just this ride has been such an adventure, and I'm very thankful, very thankful.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are wondering, like, what's next for Scarborough? Like, is it when can we see it next?
Well, so many good things happened at TIFF, right? So we got into the festival, first of all, which is so difficult. And then we got these awards. So we got like the Shawn Mendes Changemaker Award.
What?
And we got first runner-up for the People's Choice Award. So the only film that won above us was Belfast. So, which is just so weird to like be like the only person who won who had a film that was supposedly better than yours, according to the jury, was Kenneth Branagh's film. Like that was so weird. And then the third thing we got was distribution. Again, being from theater, I had no idea what that meant. I was like, what does distribution mean? What does and I'm in my mind, being from theater, I was like, so does that mean that your team of volunteers goes around with little postcards begging people to see your show? And it's not that. Thankfully, it means that Level Film is going to be distributing it, which means that it's going to be hitting theaters, hopefully, fingers crossed, in sometime in the early new year. So we're elated. It's been such a ride, because I didn't know this, but even if you get into the festival, it doesn't mean that necessarily people are going to see your film ever again.
I literally know nothing about film and TV. You say you're from theater. I guess I am kind of theater, but more like,
of course you are,
comedy theater. Anyway, we're going to get into that difference.
Yes, because we've had this conversation, and I think we have to share it with everybody. Yeah,
it's true. I love but like I wanted to read as much of your bio. I cut some pieces, but I did want to read as much of your bio as possible.
Oh gosh, don't worry about it.
set me up for the first thing of 5 things. Thing number 1. There you go. Thing number 1 is you do a lot.
Yeah.
You do a lot. How do you do it?
Well, the thing is, I realized my entire career has been just like curiosity. Can you do that? Is that possible? Let me try. And a lot of times, like when I'm successful, it's just that. It's just like, I just want to see if I can do this thing. Writing children's books, for example, I had no idea like if I could do it. I just wanted to try, and then Emma's Mustache got like very popular, and then I don't know, I want to just try writing a novel. Maybe I'll try, and then Scarborough came out of it, I'm so happy. I'm so thankful that that's been my life. Has been like, can I do this? And then with Scarborough the film, it was the same thing. Can you make a fiction film but make it look like a documentary? So, and having documentary filmmakers, Shasha Nakai and Rich Williamson, directing it in a way that it looked like a documentary, it was just magic, just because we were curious, and thankfully it was successful. Of course, it's not successful all the time, knitting, not necessarily successful for me. Math and sports, never successful. But I just try to keep curious, and if it's out of curiosity, a lot of times then it's not tiring. So, for example, right now my big curiosity is, can you do watercolor painting?
Yes.
And I started doing that, and I can't believe that it's been going well, but it's just a lot of fun. So I just have fun, and then also I try to rest as much as possible, because I do have chronic adrenal fatigue, and also just like my body, because of having survived many traumas, that I can just start getting like memory lapse if I'm extremely tired. So I just really have to care for myself. So like it's almost like you have to book it in. Like you have to book in rest just like you would book a meeting. And I really take that rest seriously. So like it's like a really good walk, a very good meal, or like right now, oh my gosh, I'm binge watching a lot of HGTV because I got Discovery Plus, and now I can't feel my legs. I don't know what my name is anymore, because I love home renovation shows. But yeah, so that's it. Just stay curious and know when to rest.
Who doesn't love? Well, first of all, that's like that. As someone who burns out on a regular basis,
Yes.
it's like that is so validating to hear. My second more important point was like, who doesn't love home renovation shows? I remember being 9 years old, being like, yeah, put that kitchen where it is. I think we all secretly are like, property twins, or we are all I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, like, okay, so do you like? But I don't know. Okay, right now, obviously, in this day and age, our focus on these renovation shows is basically making a house actually look better. I don't know why in like the early 2000s, and I don't know how old you are, Alia, but like just the entire Trading Spaces era.
Yes.
I feel like
Yes.
is your job like I don't know what it was back then, but we really love to like fuck each other's homes up. I don't know what that was
Yeah.
about. And now it's just like all about gentrification. Like it's so funny because like I'm a person who is a victim of gentrification, and we're like, and yet at the same time I'm like, oh, look at those backsplashes. Look at those soft closed drawers. It's just the way that it slowly closes. Like, why do I care? Why do we care? Why do I care if they love it or list it? I don't know, but I stay. I've lost all my family. I don't know where they are now.
They're all gone.
They're all gone. They're all gone. Like I have like great grandchildren. They don't know me. They
Still
don't
on
know me.
HGTV. I asked myself the same question, like why I, since I was very young, have treated my trips to IKEA as though they were like trips to Disneyland.
Because of the meatballs.
It was the ice cream for me.
Oh yes.
It's the ice
That
cream.
styrofoam.
Yeah, it's so
cone.
bad, but it's so good.
Oh, and then the little vignettes. Like, oh, this is my little apartment in Manhattan. Looking out at like the fake window, the fake window with the little, like it's like a picture of a city scene.
Yes.
And you're like just living the single life in Manhattan, and then you go to the next one and it's like a different vignette, and you're like, I'm in the countryside, in the French countryside with the I love IKEA. I love IKEA so hard.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess we're really learning that like relax, watch some HGTV. That is the key to
Yes. Yes.
conquering any, like against all odds. Well, not against all odds, but like curiosity. I think also
Yes.
is like my biggest takeaway. Like curiosity. It's so funny. Like I think I'm 35. Wait,
Oh, okay.
I'm 34. Doesn't matter. Who cares anymore?
It's just because like I'm so used to like saying like, oh, the thing, and then the person's like, I don't understand what you mean, just because I feel like I've gotten to the age where everyone is extremely young around me, so I just assume that everyone's in their 20s, and you're very like you seem like very bubbly, but also like age does not hit you at all. Like so, I just assume everyone's 22.
well.
Oh, what are you talking about? Yeah.
I mean, the pandemic swallowed up my early 30s, and I have complex feelings about it because I wanna celebrate aging, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm like, I had plans.
Yep.
But so did we all. So did
Yep.
we all. But I mean, okay, so even just this last year, so Scarborough was at TIFF. Scarborough, the novel, was at 2019 because I remember reading it like before the pandemic. But Crosshairs came out during the pandemic, and that's thing number 2.
Oh yeah.
So for folks at home, Crosshairs is your second novel,
Yes.
but not necessarily your second book because you have multiple children's books. So just to put it out there. So I mean, it's a dystopian story of a near future, actually like a future around the corner, which is frightening, where others and allies join forces against an oppressive regime, and it's completely based in Toronto.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
Yeah, so like tell us a bit about Crosshairs, like, and why was it so important to show that it is in Toronto specifically? Because like I felt that was really like Scarborough was intentionally Scarborough, and you really feel like this is of this place. And I feel like the city of Toronto was very intentional as well. So I'd love to know more about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I had a lot of pressure from the publishing world to consider putting it in sort of this nondescript North American place, because usually that helps with book sales. But I really stood my ground on that. I still stand by that choice because Canada has this marketing campaign, I call it that, a marketing campaign that spans several generations that completely erases the ongoing genocide against the Indigenous people of Turtle Island. And it was important to me to show that not only is a genocidal campaign possible, it already has happened and it is continuing to happen, with many Indigenous communities not having access to clean water, to people living on and off reservations, not having access just to the safety of like the family unit. And so what I really wanted to show was how plausible it all is, especially since many of us from the QT BIPOC community have survived apocalypses already. So what would it look like if a fascist regime was in Canada? I wrote the book. I wanted it to feel like as if, you're going to put down the book and that it was going to happen tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know that you were going to read the book and it was going to feel exactly like what was happening already, or even just yesterday. Yeah. I had a lot of Americans messaging me on social media during the attempted insurrection saying, what are you writing what's happening? You're writing exactly what's happening. How is this possible? I had a friend tell me, you're a fucking psychic. Just because it's alarming, just because I wrote it during a time that there was some floods in Scarborough, and I could feel it then, that there was like this warning that I had to issue to people. And I'm I'm not a religious person, but I'm definitely a spiritual person. I really felt like my ancestors were like, you need to issue this warning to everyone. And I did it. I wrote it down. I knew that it was going to be really hard for people to read it. And then when the pandemic happened, I was like, oh shit. I don't think anybody's going to read this book. I don't think anybody, I mean, it's very difficult for people. A lot of people, it can rub people the wrong way. And that's fine. And I have to just trust that, with white supremacy, it really teaches our bodies to either get really angry with a message like this or to just completely dismiss it. And I just have to trust that the people who are ready to hear the message, heed the call of the book, which is to embody allyship, if they're ready, then they're going to learn. If they're not, it's okay. I can't do anything about it. That's beyond my control.
Mm-hmm. And it's so, I feel like the urgency is really encapsulated in your epigraph, which, if it's okay if I read it.
Oh, yeah.
So in your epigraph, you write, "To the people of privilege, you will survive your discomfort while reading this book, but many like me, who sit dangerously at various intersections of identity, will not survive long enough for you to complete the last page. What will you do?" And yeah, that is like, it's like almost a gauntlet thrown. Like, I don't know, like how it must have taken something, or maybe not, I'm assuming, to put this basically front and center of this book. It's kind of like a challenge.
Yeah.
So what was your thinking behind that?
Well, when you're having difficult conversations in the queer community, it's a common practice to like let's just say that there's like something difficult that I have to share with you, like something that maybe I was offended by, that maybe between you and me that I need to discuss, or maybe I want to apologize about something, and we know that it's going to be a difficult conversation. Is that you can preface it with saying, Alia, would you be willing to have a conversation with me? Or Alia, I was wondering, would you be willing to hear something right now? And it might hit hard. So it's a good way to start a conversation, because if you're not ready for that conversation, we don't even have to have it. We can have it later. But I wanted to say that at the beginning of the book, so that people were going to be ready for this journey, that it was going to feel uncomfortable. Even like when I would do a reading, I could feel myself sweating. I knew that, other people were sweating listening to it. Like it's a difficult read. It's really difficult. And it was, on the funny side, it was hilarious asking for blurbs for the book, because the pandemic was, just starting. We had to ask around March. And I was, like all these people, like these big authors, like, I know that you're probably fearing for your life, but could you read my book about people fearing for their lives in the face of fascism, and then write something nice about it? And I'm really, really thankful that Lawrence Hill offered a blurb, but it was a terrifying thing to do. Like, I don't know. I was terrified writing it. I was terrified releasing it into the world. But the good thing is getting feedback from people, from the community that is represented in the book, from QT BIPOC folks saying, thank you for seeing me. Thank you for saying it out loud. Like, everything that I'm scared of right now it's really important.
So now that it's out, like, are you still terrified a little bit, or?
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, and you have to laugh at it, because, like, okay, so right now a miracle has happened. It looks like I might actually be able to buy a home. I don't know. Yeah, I know.
Thank you, HGTV.
I know. It is, and it's like, we have to be really careful, because I want to buy a rural property, because in my mind, what I have in my mind is that we're going to be able to create a space in which we can really, like, steward the land, get, like, the soil to be good. Because I right now, one of my curiosities right now is, building up soil health, doing micro farming, like, because I am a student of permaculture, and just, again, like, being a steward of the land, taking care of it and growing food from it, and also being able to create safe spaces for QT BIPOC people in the countryside. And so my partner and I we went to this one house, because, you have to imagine there were these two brown people, obviously queer, in these rural areas, trying to find a house, and one place had a coffin in the basement. Why was there a coffin? I was told it was a Halloween decoration, but I mean, that looked like it was a real coffin. Why would you have a real coffin for Halloween decor? And there were guns. So, okay, so you can imagine. Like, we're scared. Like, we have to really take a temperature of, like, every area that we're in to see, like, are people going to be accepting of us? We usually go to, like, a nearby restaurant or cafe, and we're not making out, but we definitely hold hands, and so that we can sort of gauge how people are taking us in. Right? Like,
yeah.
And we've had to do this litmus test at like several different towns in Ontario to see where we feel safe. And I would say that there aren't many, but we're able to find some, and we're very thankful for those places. So we're really excited about finding this place. But think about that, like, that we have to put ourselves in danger like this to see if we are going to be safe to find a home. Yeah. So this is life, right? Yeah, and we can laugh all we want about it, just because it's been such an adventure. But we're hoping we're gonna find the right place. Yeah.
So I have to ask if Coffin and Gun Home is in the top 10.
No, it couldn't.
Did it make the cut?
No. Can you believe that there were 5 offers on Coffin Home? They were, and I mean, come on now. Like, who are these? Like, you can just see these people, these investors saying, yes, this is the home I am going to put my $600,000 on. It's perfect. It's a great income potential. It's the coffin. The Coffin Home takes it,
Yeah, they're like, I'm going to age in place and we're set,
Exactly. I can see the listing already, so yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, so Whoa. We were talking about Crosshairs, right?
Yes.
Yes. And so, yeah, everyone, like, Crosshairs is, where is Crosshair? You can read it, it's on Audible as a audiobook.
Which I recorded in this closet made into like a sound studio. Yes.
In your beautiful closet that looks like a very, very professional sound studio.
Yes.
Fitted with lighting, too.
Yes.
For folks on the podcast.
That's right. And I've got one of those really annoying podcast mics. Yes. I'm one of those people.
It sounds great. Like, you're ready to get it, like, ASMR. Like, you're set.
Yes.
You're set. So Crosshairs, it's interesting because that is not your only project that was like really delving into the end times, the end of the world. So thing number 3 is Imminent Disaster.
Yes.
So Imminent Disaster is a very, very funny. It's very funny because I'm also in it. Very funny. It's like a audio sketch series.
Yes.
It's also it's a podcast because I know
it's like it's a sketch comedy podcast through Audible Originals, and there's 10 episodes, various scenes disconnected from one another, and all of them usually just focused on the absurdity of these times, because I don't even have to make up too much. I mean, like, you just watch the news and that's already absurd. Like the fact that the weather is now the most horrifying thing of the news. That's like, it's so bizarre. But that's the show. And I'm so happy that you were a part of it. I gotta say, it was just wonderful finally working with you, because I after seeing Tita Jokes, I remember sitting there in the audience going, oh yeah, no, I have to, at some point, there's going to be some way that I have to hire her, because you're just so brilliant. Oh. Yeah. So I think it's, you know what it is? It's the MLM thing with Tita Posh. I mean, I would totally be that Tita if I wasn't in the arts. I would be the MLM lady.
Well, I told you, I want to act new rich. So
I know, right?
I write it in every show that I can. I actually, it's funny that it's here. I made a puppet that's just a pile of cash.
Oh my gosh. So, that is so cute.
I'm sure it's like so for folks on the podcast who don't get to see this, but if you want to see it, it's on the YouTube, by the way, Bad Dog Comedy TV. It's a puppet with it looks like a pile of cash. That's literally what
it looks exactly like that. Just bring that to the bank. Bring it to the bank. Know. I'm sure that they'll be able to cash it in.
But yeah, no, it was so much fun. Like, it was so much fun to do, and I have to say, I don't think I'd ever imagine ever voicing a sexy dragonfly.
That was my favorite scene. I fought so hard to keep that in.
It was so hard to get through that. With that, so basically, like, and everyone, please go watch him, go listen to Imminent Disaster. But there is a scene where there's a bunch of bugs. I don't want to give it away, but like a bunch of bugs are just kissing and telling.
Yeah, it's just like about like after a hot night of sex, what are they all gonna say? That was such a fun scene to do, and I'm glad that we got to do it together. Yeah. Yeah, just because I feel that way. You're sitting there because I live by the lake, and I feel like, like around late August when it's dragonfly season, and you start to see the dragonflies basically like fucking above your head, like just like hovering right by your head, and I'm always amazed by that. Like, oh, like yes, I get that they're that's their their thing as like insects, but I also feel like they're trying to just show off in front of us, like as if like the kind of sex that you have is so vanilla as humans, and we're gonna just screw in this heart shape hovering right by your face while you're just trying to read a book by the lake. That was what it was inspired by, just because I feel like insects are always doing it on like mayflies are always doing it on my forearm. Like everywhere, like
shameless.
totally shameless. And I feel like they like people watching. Like, I don't think that, I don't know. That's me anthropomorphizing it, but I'm most likely right. Yeah.
Yeah, well, watch a bunch of insects in sex. That's grammatically wrong, but it works for the pun.
Yes.
But it's really interesting to go from Crosshairs, which is about the end times, literally
Yes,
right around the
yes.
corner, oh my gosh, to Imminent Disaster about the end times. And it feels like you were writing kind of those, I don't know, like I assume you wrote those kind of close to each other.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder, how was that going from Crosshairs, which is like not at all written like a comedy,
Yeah.
going
yeah.
from sketch comedy? Like, how was that? How did that feel? What was that like?
So healing, just because we have to laugh at these things. Like, we have to laugh at these things. I don't think that there's, I don't see any other way of surviving this. I think that a lot of people think that resilience is like this dramatic film, you know, when you see a resilience in media, right? Like you see people like dabbing at tears in the corners of their eyes and, picking themselves up after something horrible happens to them. But I think that resilience also looks like laughing your head off about the sexual harassment that you receive on a regular basis, or laughing at the absurdity of those freaking videos that people were doing during the Black Lives Matter protests last year. Those celebrities doing those ridiculous videos. I mean, all of that to me is funny. It's so funny and so horrible at the same time. Like Crosshairs would look at that and say, how horrible is it that these privileged people have no clue how to be allies other than putting the camera on themselves and centering them and their pain. And then you have in Imminent Disaster, you have an exact scene that's making fun of those ridiculous supposed allyship videos. And I want to show how funny it is to survive as a brown queer woman because of the amount of bullshit that I have to deal with on a regular basis. It's and a lot of people don't believe me. That's the thing. They don't believe that half the things happen to me. But I'm like, no, it does. And that's why the series happened in the first place, is that I happened to be at the Galore Awards it wasn't last year. It was many years ago. It was before the pandemic. But I was at a table for Audible, and Anna Geeson, who worked for Audible at the time, just thought I was so funny because I was making people laugh at the table, which literary functions, like sometimes it can be very dry. And I just made everybody laugh about certain things. And she's like, can you just pitch me a show? Can you pitch me a show for Audible Originals? And then that's what I did. I said, well, I really want to do a sketch show about the absurdity of what I lived through, but also the absurdity of these times, of these end times that feel quite apocalyptic. And at that time, the pandemic hadn't happened. She said, yeah, do it. So I sent her a pitch. She loved it. But the thing that got her was that when the pandemic started, she said, can you please pitch me again? Because I want you to imagine that you're pitching me now now that you know that the pandemic is here, can you pitch me again? With your episode ideas. And so I did it again, and she loved the idea of it being really definitely from my perspective. And that really helped shape the show. So it was so much fun, and it was so much fun working with Templeton Philharmonic for script editing. So it was just really great, like learning from those two powerful women, so creative. Had a great time, and then recording everything with post office sound. Like they were just so wonderful. So now it's out in the world, and I'm really proud of it. And I'm getting, what I love are all the messages from people saying, like, I'm listening to it in my car, I'm laughing so hard. This really brightened up my day. I mean, that's what I wanted. I really wanted people to at least just have like this moment of reprieve, because I think we're vacillating between, and we're gonna be fine. Yes, our leaders are totally gonna take care of it. At some point, we're totally gonna hit, net zero. And then other times when we're like, we're gonna die. Why are we gonna die? We're gonna die. And so I really wanted this moment of like between those, that pendulum swing for there to be a moment of just, let's just laugh, let's have a fun time. And having people feel seen, so it's great. Like, it's such a gift to have this show in the world, and I'm so glad that you enjoy it, because I was really nervous that people from the comedy world would they wouldn't like it or whatever, and I just so I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased.
I loved it. It was such a pleasure to be a part of. I will say I had a bit of a panic attack around. There's one character I play where I have an Alabama accent.
Oh my god.
And I was like, so oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, accents are always hard. And I always think about like someone like because I did an accent for it as well. I was just imagining someone going like, this is incorrect. Some linguists out there, like totally like Eliza Doolittling me. I was a little bit worried too, but I had a great time with you. Yeah. It was so much fun. And also the fact that because we're in sound studios apart from one another or masked, like it was pretty safe. That made me really relieved to be able to play again with actors, but in the safety of our own little pods, which was so much fun.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, go listen to it. And actually, like, well, what you just said brings us to kind of like thing number 4. Oh yeah. My gosh. Thing number 4, because you had mentioned at the beginning and you had mentioned like just now, just like the comedy world. Like, it's really interesting that there's like, here you are, like clearly creating and writing comedy and still feeling like that, like, this separation from like comedy. And it's true though, like there is the way things are in Canada and maybe North America right now. It's like there are theater people and then there are comedy people.
I don't agree with. Okay, so we've had this conversation, and I want to share this with everyone, is that I have so much respect for the comedy world. And every time I've had because I teach theater as well. Like I teach creative process with people, like decolonized creation in many different kinds of mediums. And when I have people from the comedy world take part, almost all the time, they're the first people that want to play, try things out. They always jump head first. I never have to fight with them to try new things. And I can't tell you how thankful I am for that kind of energy in the room, because you can have really seasoned actors who don't play, right? And I also think that people from the comedy world, I feel like they're not given the chance to really like bite into a scene, like understand like all the beats in a scene and the interactions. Like I feel like people should give them more chances to do that, because I what I'm loving right now in like the last 10 years is watching comedians who are really really stretching their muscles so that they're able, like if you look at, for example, Will Ferrell right now in The Shrink Next Door, if anybody's watching it, his performance is phenomenal, both dramatically and comedically. It's so good. So when I can see comedians doing that, like I just think that they should be given more chances to do that. I don't think that it's an incapability. I think it's just that people. What I don't like is people seeing comedies like, get ready to be funny, funny. Where's the punchline? I really love shows where it like right now I love Work in Progress. That's like one of my favorite television shows, like first season for sure. And of course like Shrill, where you see like sometimes it really hurts to laugh, like you're laughing at things that are actually quite tragic. So it's I think that people need to take comedians more seriously. Now, why I say I'm not a comedian is just because I just don't feel like I'm that person that can be just funny all the time. I think that I'm just not. And I remember one time smoking pot with a bunch of stand-up comedians, and it was so painful, Alia. Like it was. I didn't even try to make jokes. I didn't. It was just I was just trying to have a conversation. And everything that I said, they all looked at each other like, yeah, okay, that's funny, sure. I've also had conversations with another stand-up comedian who I would say something, and the way that she would break down anything that I said that was remotely funny until the inanity of what I was saying just like crumbled at my feet. So I feel like I'm just not that kind of funny. I think that what I do is I'm a storyteller where there is some funny moments, but I just feel like I'm not in this this constant world of like punchline and another punchline. And you'll see that even in Crosshairs, like there are some really, I feel like really funny moments in that, like, cause like I really point at the funny intricacies of my community, around the complications around love and all this stuff. But it's a very serious novel. Same thing with Scarborough. It's a heartbreaking novel. Like people have said it's heartbreaking, but there are so many moments in it that are funny. So I love doing that kind of storytelling, but I don't think about that. I'm not at that level to say comedian. I've never felt comfortable about saying
That's really interesting because like the scene that you just painted with like the stand-up comedians and and feeling like that is a thing that definitely I felt throughout. Not so much now because I hang out with the same 10 people and I like all of them. None of them make me feel that way.
Yeah.
But like coming into comedy, and I will say like between comedy and theater, and not this is not a competition, but for me comedy just felt more accessible. Like I wasn't going to switch like careers and go into theater school, for example, but it was easy to take a comedy class and get started that way. But I will say like the first few years of starting comedy felt like that. It was hard. It was hard to get good at comedy because those spaces made me feel like that.
Yes, like you're like a little like dancing monkey.
Yeah.
Like what are you gonna do? Like where it's like I love, like for example, improv artists where they don't necessarily feel like there has to be some kind of funny joke about the scene. It's just that it's just an improv. And like I love watching that. I love watching that. I also must say that I can't stop thinking about funny things, especially in serious moments, because you have to understand that coming from the literary world where these events are usually very serious. And I come in there acting like as if it's Pride. I usually look like, like these events. It's the one thing that sort of perks me up, puts a little, pep in my step, is overdressing for these usually very conservative events.
Overdressing?
Yes. I love overdressing.
You say overdressing, but honestly, I don't even... I'm trying to put into words what I see, and it's just like... I'm struggling for words, but it's like these fabulous pieces that I don't know, find from all over the world. I think there was a period of time that like one of my favorite things to do is like because sometimes you tag on Instagram who you're wearing, right?
Yes.
And I'll go down a rabbit hole, my friend. And like some of your pieces, I went because I saw that dress that you wore at the Scarborough red carpet at TIFF, and it looks like a terno.
Yeah, it looks like one.
It looks like one, but it's. I'm so sorry. I really went. It's from like a shop in Australia.
Yes.
So this like worldwide glamour ensembles that you're putting together.
Oh, that's called a rental.
Oh.
I rented it, and I'm really clear about that because I've not bought anything new since 2019. January 2019, because it was like, my New Year's resolution. And I, not unless it's obviously underwear, or if it's from an Indigenous or Black creator. So it's such a nice challenge to do that because it means that I haven't wasted any clothes. It's not going to sit in my closet because I just, everything that's in my closet basically I've had since 2019. I'm perfectly fine doing that. But then when it's like a red carpet event, I just rent it because then it's going to be used by someone else. And it's a lot of fun, but okay, I got to say that what's hilarious is that I'm like, oh, I've made it to the celebrity level where I've been posted with like a picture of a model wearing the same dress, comparing me to the model. I'm like, and someone said like hot or not or something like that on Instagram. Something really awful. I'm like, oh wow, I really made it. But yeah, like I was really kind of honored, but in a strange way. Yeah, it was very funny. It was very funny to compare me to a model wearing the same dress. It's totally fine. But like, to show you how new money it is that I didn't know. Okay, so the red carpet, I was treating it like, your 5th grade classroom photo. Everyone smile really big, or like in Filipino get-togethers. Use your levels, your up and down, your 3/4 turn, all the things that as like a Filipino you need to know how to, because of all the cousins, how to fit everybody in that frame, right? And look really cool doing it, and yet spontaneous. That's what I thought it was, the red carpet was. And then I looked at my pictures. I was like, oh my gosh, I look like a child. So then I had to like practice in front of the mirror, because now I know, I'm like, oh no, you got to do this weird like crossing legs thing.
Posing is a whole thing.
It's such a whole thing. And you have to sort of look at the camera like, I don't care. Like, what? I don't care. Well, oh, me? Okay. And then my favorite, though, I mean, I want to see if I could do it and still take myself seriously without laughing my head off, is that if I ever do a red carpet with a really fancy back, I love when celebrities walk in a way that they're looking over their shoulder so that you can see the fancy back.
Oh, yeah.
That makes me laugh so hard. That makes me, like, just naturally, I'm just walking with my back to you all, like, what? Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try. I'll see if I can figure it out. Yeah.
I am also hearing here, or maybe I'm pitching, but like, a collaboration between Tita Posh, Catherine Hernandez, a new sketch series called New Money. Where,
yes.
We're buying houses with coffins in it, and we're showing our backs all over the place.
Oh no, it does. Well, like, I already pitched to you. I really want this scene to happen. A scene where it's oh my gosh, what is his name? I'm having
Bruno Mars.
Yes, I told you. Okay, I know.
Yes,
I'm probably annoying you, but like, yes,
no.
I want this Bruno Mars scene to happen where his backup dancers are all Lolas. I want this to happen, just because, like, when they realize his lyrics are dirty, that they give him like a good palo, like a good hit on the arm, and they like hit him with their purses. I really want this to happen.
It's gonna happen.
It's so funny.
It's on record. It's gonna be manifested. It's coming up. You hear that,
Put
the Cheetahs?
Put it out there. Oh my gosh.
Well, I mean, oh my gosh. Fifth thing.
Yeah.
So I would love to know. We've been collecting things that people are really loving right now. Like, what are things that are making you laugh real hard these days? I think you've already mentioned a few.
Yes, I wrote it down. Okay, so one of the things that really makes me laugh right now is Nicole Kidman's accent in 9 Perfect Strangers.
This is really
Can
specific.
people please hire Nicole Kidman to just do her own accent? Please, God, that's all I want for Christmas. More than I want property that does not have a coffin in it. Please, God, someone hire her to just be Nicole. And I feel like what does it feel like to be Nicole Kidman, that every day she's like, okay, here I go. I'm from New York. Here I go. I just can't. I can't with her and that weird, it was supposed to be Russian. I don't know what that was. It was so painful. But yeah, like Pen 15.
Oh my gosh, so good. CBC
Yes.
Gem, everyone.
Oh my gosh. The Asian mom haircut. If anybody who survived the Asian mom, yes, the bowl cut is, and what makes me so angry when people say that? It's like, yeah, I got the Asian bowl cut. It's like, bitch, I had to wear No, I had to not wear a bowl. My mom just eyeballed it. Like, if that's the worst. So it's a bowl cut without the bowl.
She didn't put the bowl and like
yes,
trace it?
yes. And it's just like, and she also gave me this weird like shave in the back. And I'm like, so why are you surprised that I turned out to be queer with that kind of haircut? And then I'd say I love the HBO special from Phoebe Robinson, Sorry, Harriet Tubman. That was so funny. And I loved, like sometimes I get really annoyed by stand-up comedians and this weird pacing that they do across the stage. There's something about the way that she did. Did you watch it? I don't know if you watched it.
No, I'm gonna go check it out.
It's the way she did it was just like as if, like, why am I doing this fucking show? Why am I doing this show? There's something about it. It was so funny. I laughed really hard. So I was really pleased, and I love Phoebe Robinson. She's hilarious. So yeah, so those are the things that make me laugh right now.
Well, that's awesome. Well, everyone check all of that stuff out.
Especially Nicole Kidman's accent. Yeah.
I'm just going to watch that.
Yes,
really.
Please.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Catherine, for joining us for 5 Things at Bad Dog Comedy TV. Please, 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 everyone, check out more of Catherine's stuff. And, I skipped the lightning round. So I'm going to do a quick lightning round.
Sure.
Just because we want to know more about you always. So,
okay.
Lightning round. Number 1, tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But decaf. I'm so sorry. I'm a middle-aged lady who has a hard time going to sleep.
On board, and now, you know what? It's fine.
It's okay.
Still coffee.
It's all right.
Number 2, how do you like to celebrate? A big party or a nice, cozy one?
Oh, cozy for sure. I get I'm very shy. I can't be with too many people.
Yeah, like I said, I only hang out with 10, and that's it. They're vetted. Number 4, what do you do on days when you're not feeling confident? I stole this from a Briana interview, and I love it.
Ooh, when I'm not feeling confident. So like when learning how to write a book, I would read books that I love so much, circle sentences that I loved, until I felt confident that I could do something similar. And then I'd write, and then when I feel the imposter syndrome taking over, then I read someone else's work again. I constantly just keep on learning. That's it. Just have that attitude. Just keep on learning.
Oh my gosh, that's lovely. That requires a pause because that was beautiful.
I know, moment of silence.
Well, I mean, what else are you watching these days? I guess.
Oh my God! Okay, everyone has to check out Homestead Rescue.
What?
Homestead, right? Okay, so it is on Discovery Plus, or it's on Discovery, I think. But it's about this family, the Rainies. They go into different homesteads to save these people who went into homestead lifestyle not knowing how to do homesteading. So, like, if, for example, they might be, like, in the desert with their trailer and they have no access to water, and then they figure out a way of getting water to them. Like, things like that. They do that. And because I'm totally into homesteading, obviously I'm sitting in a closet with the soundproofing material. I know homesteading. Yeah. But it's seriously, it is the best. Like, keep with it. I know it's strange, but by like I think a few seasons in, all of a sudden it just like, you're going to be amazed. You will survive the apocalypse thanks to the Rainey family.
Is this on HGTV?
It's not. But it's part of the Discovery group of channels. It's so good. It is so good. Everyone must watch it as the end is coming. Yes.
Convinced. I'm convinced. Okay, and last one. What's next? I mean, there's so many things, but really, what is the immediate next thing that's happening with you?
Television projects. I can't talk about it right now, but I can talk about a children's book. That's happening in the new year, children's book that's called Where Do Your Feelings Live? And it's really just to help little kids learn to deal with all the scary feelings right now. So I feel like it's like all about the end of the world. Like, I'm just creating things about the end of the world. But
I love it.
but in different forms. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, now is when I thank you so much for joining the show. So please, please, please go check out more of Catherine's stuff. Like Ajahnis will have that back. Like so, Catherine Hernandez, IG at Lex Hernandez, or on Twitter at The Loud Lady. And if you haven't yet, please hit follow or subscribe to this channel to keep up to date on all of the cool programming Bad Dog has coming your way. And if you'd like to support the show, consider donating to www.baddogtheater.com/5things. A big shout out to Ajahnis Charley, our tech. Thanks, Ajahnis. Thank you so much for joining us. I have been Alia Rasul, and in the words of my people, Ingat. Take care and have a great night. Bye!